Hi, and welcome along to the Invincible podcast with my man Lee Judges. You dry, mate? Dry? Or
dry, yeah. I'm fed up with getting wet every game like that. I mean, like, absolutely soaked last night. Absolutely soaked. Like Seville, you can sort of get over it, you know what I mean, because you've won the game. But when you've lost and you're soaking wet, it just, you know what I mean, I was standing, you know, when you like getting into your car and putting it out, it was dripping on me and I was going, oh, I don't know for this. Absolutely, like, well, I might as well jumped into a river. I was that wet last night. Like, there you go.
Poor performance as well.
Poor performance.
I mean, talking of wet, I mean, the team was wet. I mean, you know, losing 3-1 away, always a difficult game. I remember after the Brentford game, and that game came out of the hat. And I think it was Frank in the studios going, oh yeah, I don't mind that draw. And I go, that's one of the worst draws we could have got. I go, got to go away, London derby, again, second one in a row. Gonna play a weakened team. I predicted the team we were gonna play. Even before the thing, I knew it, right? Because I could tell by some of the selections he made at the weekend, right? And I knew that he'd go weak, and I knew that they'd be a bit stronger because they're coming off the back of a couple of poor results, 2 losses, one in the Europa League, one in the league. And I was like, you know what? They can't lose 3 home games. They're going to have to go strong, right? And they're going to know that we're going to make a lot of changes. And they did go strong. I mean, really only Antonio.
Yeah, Ward Prowse.
Yeah, Ward Prowse.
2 players.
So they went strong. And we made loads of changes, but to be fair, even with the changes we made, we should be doing better. We started the game all right.
Yeah.
End of the first half, actually, you know, West Ham hadn't even had a shot, even though they were losing, even though they were winning 1-0. But then in the second half, I thought we were really, really poor, and they deserved to win, deserved to be 3-1 winners. And yeah, just a really shocking performance. But do you care?
Oh yeah, I do care. Listen, at the end of the day, there's, you know, if it was a league game, I'd be a lot more upset and everything like that. But I don't mind. Say like, it's how we lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I look back on it, West Ham were really up for it. I looked at the teams when they first come out. I looked at our team and then straight away thought, oh, well, what's West Ham's team? I looked at West Ham, so I think like they changed the goalkeeper and a couple of other positions. I thought, oh, well, they've gone really strong. I actually thought they'd go a little bit weaker because they're playing in Europe as well, but they didn't. And I thought we were going to be up against it. I thought we started off okay, but we never looked dangerous, Robbie. Never looked like dangerous. And then, you know, the first goal, after 15, 20 minutes, just as you started to get, you think, well, we might start getting on top of them. I just thought that I'm sitting there.
What's Ben White doing that goal?
I don't know what Ben White was doing. Do you know what? There was no one near him. There was 4 players in the near post.
Yeah.
It's not the first time.
It's whipped in, but I looked on it and I thought to myself, is that a bit of lack of concentration where now you're reacting, but you're reacting too late? Because he had loads of time to just
I don't know what he was doing.
The bar thing.
It's not like him neither.
Yeah, it's not like him. He's been, and also a foul on Ramsdale.
Yeah,
right?
foul on Ramsdale.
I think Ramsdale was inquiring to the rereferee about VAR, and the referee goes, "There is no VAR." But I think if there was VAR, and this is why me personally, I always say, bad as VAR is, much as it starts games and stuff like that, in modern day football, you need it because that was an obvious pull on his shirt just as he's about to jump. I'm not even sure if he would have still got to it, if I'm being honest, but it's a definite pullback. And I think that should, you know, the goal should have been disallowed for that, but there's no VAR. And again, that shows me a lot about this competition that, you know, they don't even see it serious enough to have VAR in all the games. That's how seriously they take it for me. But then that goes in, still 1-0, still time to get back in the game. But in the second half, even worse defending. The second goal by Kudos, which was a great finish by him, but it's a crossfield ball, 40 yards. Zinchenko just watches it all the way onto his foot. He does make no attempt to tackle. He makes no attempt to win it. He makes no attempt to do anything. He just cuts back inside and hits a nice shot into the corner.
Can't be doing that.
Shocking.
you know, what has been the drop off of him? What has been the drop off of him? Because
he's been very poor.
He's been really, really poor. Now,
I mean, he's very poor in that game.
Very poor. You know, and listen, he's one of my favourite players. He was one of the best players at Arsenal last season. I know he's had no pre-season issue. He's been injured, but his performance is it because he's not got? Well, he has got Tommy Asu really up him taking his place now. Like
Tommy Asu right now for me is first choice left back.
Yeah,
right, and that's why. I knew, you know, he started on Saturday, Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko, I think you'll see, he'll start a lot of the games like, you say, a Sheffield United at home where, you know, there's going to be low block and he can get on the ball a lot in midfield. But games where we're going to need to defend well, right, he ain't starting. He didn't start against Man City, right? And if you notice, Chelsea game, which he was poor again, he got subbed at half-time. Yeah, and then, you know, he was a lot more solid in the second half now when Tommy Asu came on. Yeah, so I
don't know.
He's fallen off since last season.
Fallen really well off. He's one of our best players last season, one of our influential players.
He was the worst player last night.
Oh, by a country mile. And against Chelsea as well. Like, you know, even when he was in midfield, he was giving it away and he's slow. You know, this is. You know, go back and watch the Arsenal Spurs game at the Tottenham Stadium and the levels that he produced in that performance. And it wasn't just his, you know, people turn around and say, oh, he can't defend. He was defending fantastically well in that game as well. Like, you know, it's just an all-round game was dropped. Now I don't know why.
Could be because of no pre-season. I didn't even think of that, but
you know, I'm trying to make excuses for him. But
and in the third goal, you know, Aaron Ramsdale, should he do better? I mean, listen, it's a deflected shot. It's one of those where it changes the trajectory of the ball a bit, but he did get a hand to it.
Yeah, he should have done better.
And I mean, for him, in a game where really he's under so much pressure now, he has to impress when he gets his chance. He didn't really, did he?
No. You know, he needed to have an unbelievable game. And this is where I feel sorry for him, and I don't think it's right the way he's been treated. This is our goalkeeper from last season that got us into the Champions League, done really well for us over the last 2 seasons, been our #1. He had to have an unbelievable game yesterday. He had to do everything right in a League Cup tie away to West Ham, and it doesn't matter how well he played, he still weren't going to be playing at the weekend. But if he went wrong for him, you know, well, there you go and all that. Like, I've been really disappointed with Arsenal fans. You know, I've been reading it every like going, oh, that's why he's been dropped and things like that. Like they're pleased that he's had a poor game and all that. Like, you know, trying to justify that he's done nothing wrong to be in the position that he's been put in, and that's down to the manager. And yeah, like, you know, he needed to have a performance there. He knows that he hasn't had a performance that he needed to. You know, it was going okay for him when he made the save from Bowen right after half time, but you know, would Raya get that? I don't know, but I think that he would. But also, like, you know, you're asking a goalkeeper's last game that he played was against Brentford in the last round. You know, I mean, where's the? You know, this is a manager that said there'd be rotation and all that, like, you know. So, you know, he's not getting enough game time. So it was a really, really difficult game for him to come into. And also, what's don't help is you've got 2 left backs. Two centre backs left-footed, so they couldn't have the same thing to get out like we normally do. And you know, the back 4 didn't help the situation. And at the end of it, you have to hold your hands up and say, you know, he didn't take his chance last night.
Yeah, and West Ham deserve winners. You know, I mean, they were up for it more. I don't know if it's the Declan Rice thing, the whole Declan Rice fact. He didn't even start the game, and I was actually surprised when we brought him on. I didn't see the point in bringing on any of those players. Well, you know, with 3-0 down, what was the point? I would have just left them all till the weekend.
Why? Why bring him on? Why didn't you start him?
He didn't do particularly well when he came on.
No.
But they were up for it.
They was up for it. Listen, I'll say it now, and if you don't believe me, like, every time we play West Ham now, we're going to have a difficult game against them. A lot more difficult. They're will go up 10%. Their fans yesterday were really, really up for that game yesterday. They wanted to put it on Arsenal. They wanted to make sure, like, you know, like, how you've gone to there. You know, they don't like the fact that he's gone to Arsenal. Like, I was speaking to a couple of fans yesterday, funny enough, and I said to them, you know, what is it with why? You know, he could have got, if he'd have gone Liverpool, they would have accepted it. right? Not that Arsenal and Liverpool were a different state of club, they'd have accepted it. Like if he'd have gone to Manchester United, even though they're in a worse state than Arsenal at the moment, Manchester City, Newcastle, they would have been happy with it, or abroad. But not Arsenal, Spurs or Chelsea. That was the three teams that he said, like, you know, any of them three, you know what I mean? So every time we play them now, they're going to be up for it that little bit more because of it.
I thought some of them West Ham fans, yeah, weren't all of them. Saw a load of them clapping. Those ones that booed him, which sounded like about half the stadium, absolute disgrace. That guy helped them to win their first trophy in about 50 years, right? 50 years, or maybe not as long as that. But listen, their first trophy in
since
decades.
1980, isn't it?
Yeah, in decades they haven't won a trophy, right? He helped them to win that. The guy served them well for all of those years. Listen, I know rivalry and stuff like that, but if ever a player deserved to get a nice warm welcome back when he went back to the club he used to play for, is him. He didn't diss him when he left. They got good money for him, in which they were able to invest in Ward-Prowse and Kudos and all that. They've done all right out of the deal. Yeah. And then they're booing him. So I hope now that Declan Rice has seen that, and next time he goes back, when we go back to West Ham, he absolutely sticks it on them. I mean, I know he only sort of did a little 20, 30-minute cameo yesterday, but absolutely, when we played them, the Boxing Day we got on. We always seem to play
Boxing Day at home, yeah.
We absolutely...
No, 28th now.
28th. Absolutely stick it on them because you owe them nothing. They're going to be booing him.
Yeah, listen,
come on, man. I would never boo if there was that's like booing Thierry Henry. That's like booing Vieira when he came. Even Vieira when he come back as manager. Look at the welcome he got from fans, still singing his name and that.
Yeah, but he didn't go.
You know, not right throughout the game to start off with. What are they booing him for?
Because he didn't go to one of their rivals. That's what they're saying.
Come on, man. When since were they our rivals?
Well,
they're London rivals, right?
They're London rivals.
When you know, no disrespect to West Ham, but when have they been? They ain't been a rival of ours.
But because it highlights to them that Arsenal are a bigger club.
Yeah, but they know that already. It's not. Come on, it's not. I'm not being disrespectful to West Ham, right? Actually, out of all the London clubs, they are one of the sort of London clubs I don't mind, right? But I'm sorry, yeah. They know that we're a way bigger club than them.
But
that's just facts.
But it's just
their rivalry's always been with Spurs, right? We know there's a hatred that exists between them, and Chelsea. They've always had this big hatred with Chelsea and obviously Millwall and that going way back, right? What's the Declan Rice? They should be saying to him, listen, we accept that he's taken a step. He wants to play in the Champions League and stuff like that. Chill out, man. Why are you booing him?
Listen, you know, there were as much as the booze he got, there were people in the crowd giving him a standing ovation as well. Like, you know,
yeah, respect to those guys.
You know, for me, I think that he's done well for them. Like, and I think that he's conducted himself really, really well.
Been their best player in about the last 10 years.
And I think he's conducted himself well when he's come to the Arsenal as well. And I think he conducted himself fantastically well yesterday. He come out, I don't know if you see it, when he come out for a warm-up, first time in the warm-up, there was a lot of boos, but he made sure that he clapped the whole stadium. Even the ones that were booing, he was made sure that he clapped them.
Class, man, class.
You know, listen, Declan Rice is a class act, and you know, I think that sometimes when you get booed, you know you've done a good job as well. I know it sounds silly, like, you know what I mean. I think
he didn't do a good job yesterday. He didn't really. He was in. Listen, he didn't start the game. So, but all I know, right, is that they should have a lot more respect. And it weren't all West Ham fans.
No.
There were West Ham fans clapping him. But the boos are very loud, right? And those that are booing him, I'm sorry, man. You know what I mean? You should be happy for what the guy bought you your first trophy in ages, right? So I'm sorry, you know, they need to have a bit more respect for the guy. And I mean, I know rivalry and all stuff like that, but to me, if that was an Arsenal player who had that impact on my club and he's coming back, I'm not booing him. I'm not booing him, right? He's, you know what I mean, gets applause at the start of the game. After that, I get it. It's done. You're now playing for the opposition. Yeah. I don't really care about you no more, but for what you've done for my club, clap, 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 respect. Then we move on. But the thing is about this Carabao, because I was on the watch along. As you know, I didn't go to the game. My brother went instead of me, right? I was on the watch along. I said this before the game. Before the game started, I said, for me, I want to win tonight. It's the Carabao Cup. I want to win. Every game we go into, I want to win. But if I had a choice, win the Carabao Cup game against West Ham or win on Saturday against Newcastle, I'd take Newcastle.
Yeah, I would have as well.
And then, you know, it was, you know, some people saying like, me and my brother's having this argument because he goes, no, I'd rather win the West Ham game because the West Ham game is a trophy, it's a cup. Now this Carabao Cup, I'm sorry, right? I'm going to take issue. I did it last year. I've done it the year before. I always take issue with this cup. I'm starting to really feel that this cup is a little bit of a waste of time. I don't know what, and this is not.
Oh, I'm surprised you've said that. I'm surprised.
It's not sour grapes, right? Because I would love to win it because it's a competition that we're in, but I just don't. I look on it, I'm like, the managers don't take it seriously. Why should I, as a fan, take it seriously when, first of all, no one else takes it seriously? So let me detail for you, right? The managers don't take it seriously. Every manager, when they play in this, rest players, loads and loads of players. Back in the day, Arsene Wenger, to Mikel Arteta's credit, that team's stronger than what we used to put out. Remember Arsene Wenger? He used to play all kids in this thing. I remember he even got to a final and played all kids, remember?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All kids he used to play in this academy kids and stuff like that. At least it's not quite as bad as that with Mikel Arteta. But I saw Ipswich Town of the Championship. They had a home draw. They've been absolutely flying this season. Yeah. They had a home draw against Fulham, who ain't been doing that great really necessarily in the Premier League. A real prime opportunity for Ipswich to win that and go into the next round, right? They've been flying in the Championship. They made 11 changes at home. Full house, you know, at home. Full house at Portman Road. They made 11 changes, lost the game, right? Because their manager is looking at the priority for him.
Promotion.
Is not winning. I remember promotion, when we talk about promotion and things like that, that's not until next year in May, right? But his priority right now is the weekend's game and not Fulham, a big Premier League club, full house at Portman Road, coming to town. He's not really bothered. So he made 11 changes. That shows you he don't care. Mikel Arteta yesterday made loads and loads of changes. The Man United Newcastle game, I mean, fair play to Newcastle. They still got the win. I think United are awful, right? But they made loads of changes. When I saw their team, I was
I couldn't believe it.
So Eddie Howe, his priority is the weekend. Liverpool, look, everybody makes loads and loads of changes in this competition. There's no VAR. According to the rules, they don't bring in VAR until like the semi-final, right? So there's no VAR in the competition. According to them, or maybe for the lower league teams, if a competition's important, yeah, you'd have VAR every ground, wouldn't you?
Well, it's a ridiculous decision. Ridiculous.
Yeah, but they don't see it important enough, Lee, to have VAR. Games finish on 90 minutes. If it's a draw at 90 minutes, it goes straight to penalties. Even though you may have to travel, like, say if we would have got through and in the next round we would have had to have travelled away to Liverpool, right, at Anfield, you get a credible draw there, grind out a draw, it goes to penalties, then it's a lottery at the end of it. Does that sound to you like the authorities and the managers are taking this competition seriously? It's not taken seriously by the managers and officials who run these clubs. It's not taken seriously by the officials because there's no VAR and things like that. That might have changed the result even, it was definitely with the first goal yesterday. So why should we take it seriously? You've gone there to that game last night. Like you said, you got absolutely soaked. It was absolutely chucking it down yesterday. You've got soaked going there. You've got soaked leaving. Anybody who's gone to the London Stadium knows that it's a long walk from the London Stadium all the way back to the train station, right? You've got absolutely soaked because you did care. You want it. But really and truly, you're the only one who cares in this competition is the fans. Nobody takes this competition seriously until they get to the semi-final. All of a sudden, when teams get to the semi-final now, like say it was us, Mikel Arteta would be like, oh, chance of winning this. Chance of a bit of silverware right now. I'm going to go strong now over these two legs. So all of a sudden now they take it seriously. Or sometimes a team might take it serious. Like last year, when Man United are like, you know, we need a trophy, man. We haven't won a trophy for ages. Let's go strong. And by the way, United, all their games last year were at home. Every single one of their games were at home until they got to the semi-final against, you know, weakened opposition. Honestly, I think the time's up for this competition. I said it last year. I don't see the point in it no more. Well, sorry, one last thing. When did they have the final? In February. It's not even like, you know, the FA Cup at the end of the season ending thing, big fanfare around it. This one's in February.
Yeah,
come on, man.
I don't mind.
Time's up for it, man.
I don't mind it being in February because it gives you that chance to be winning something and then moving on. Like, you know, Man City done. One thing I think, from my point of view, is that I'm old school. You know, I had my best memory of going to an away game was in the League Cup. It's still the best memory that I've got going to football. And it was taken very, very seriously then. Like,
then, because then you never, in those days when you're talking about it, right? There was no Champions League.
No,
right. There was not in the importance of the European competitions where
there was still European football
stuff like even the European football didn't have the. It's almost like winning the FA Cup was as big as winning winning any European competition in those days. But it's changed now.
There's massive.
It's changed, and that's what I'm saying.
You could say about the FA Cup as well, Rob, because like, you know,
FA Cup is starting to drop into those realms as well. But I still think the FA Cup holds a bit more. It's right at the end of the season.
They still change the squad around.
They do. But I do feel that the League Cup as well. It's just, I don't know, man. It used to be. I don't see.
At the end of the day, you look at the League Cup and the FA Cup now. Like, you know, going back in the old days, the third round was a fantastic day because there was always the odds of shocks, and the reason there were shocks is because the teams would play Boxing Day and another day, and then by the end of like the January the 3rd, 4th or 5th, they'd all be a little bit jaded, and but they'd still play their first full team, and that's when there was a bit of shock and all that. Now you go to games and, you know, it's rotated, heavily rotated, just like it is in the League Cup, till they get to the certain stages of the competition. And it, you know, some teams take it more seriously than others, and I think that's
even teams, right? Even when the FA Cup's on. Right, you used to have those smaller teams coming for a big giant killing and that, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, say you're coming to Arsenal, they bring like 10,000 fans, and they'd be, you know, come to try and pull off a giant killing. Those teams now, they're resting half of their team.
Well, they rest the teams as well. Like, as you say, like you go,
the small teams, the teams coming from League One, League Two, and they're resting players
because
they come and play Arsenal and they say, right, you know what, let's just rest players and concentrate on the game at the weekend. It never used to be like that.
And the problem is because it's not just about the trophy now, is it? It's the prize money that goes with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more, you know, there's more importance now to win, to get top 4 than there is to win a trophy. And that is a fact, like, because it's the financial,
of course, you know,
financial clout of it all. But for me as a fan, you know what I mean, I still want to win trophies and still.
I want to win trophies. I want to win trophies, but it's this one.
Rob, you'd a bit
last season, when we played in the League Cup, the game weren't even on TV worldwide. Was not even being shown on YouTube. Nobody apart from the people who went to that game could watch the game worldwide. That shows you the importance placed on this trophy.
Yeah,
that's what I'm. That's the point I'm trying to make. And if they're not serious about it, I don't know why I should be.
Is you know, like, and there's a lot of Arsenal fans. I'm just going to pick on the Arsenal fans at the moment that will turn around like yourself saying, "We're not worried about it." But if we'd have got to the cup final, you wouldn't be going, "I'm not worried about it. I'll give it ticket to someone who's never been to a cup final." Well, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But it's being viewed now as a day out. Rather than, you know, because let's be real, if we win the League Cup, season finishes, right? We drop out of the top 4.
Well, but at the
end of the season, we won the League Cup, right?
Poor season.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a poor season.
So that's what I'm saying. As much as we're being romantics, we're talking about it's about winning silverware. And I had this argument with my brother the other day, right? Let's be real. The importance of this trophy is not the same as it used to be.
And it isn't, but it's still important to certain players in that team yesterday, like Aaron Ramsdale, i.e. Nelson, who are not going to play now till January.
I'm not making any excuses for those players, and the performance that they put in was not of the standard of what Arsenal should be putting out.
No,
right? And as I said, it weren't like back in the day when we was putting out pure kids under Arsene Wenger. There was a strong enough team there to beat West Ham. That was a poor performance by the team. But I'm just trying to make the point on the trophy itself, that it just does not hold it important. You know what I mean? And a lot of it depends on who you're playing as well. If we was playing, say, if you're playing Tottenham or something in a game in the third round, you're all up for it. But if it's anyone else,
you should be up for it. Like, I'm not being horrible. I don't mind. Listen, if Arsenal go to, and I'm not having this is not disrespectful at West Ham. If they went to, like last season, we went to Manchester City and lost. You know what I mean? Oh well, I get that. But there's an opportunity yesterday to go there and do something. Yeah. And what? Forget about whether you want to win it or not. I look at players like, let's be really honest with you. Havertz, Trossard are two, you know what I mean, like the Vieira. These are guys that have, you know what I mean, have got to make a mark to get into this team.
I agree
and they've not done it.
I agree with you 100%, but it's not the point I'm trying to make.
I know what you're making.
The point of the players, all of them poor. If you get a chance to watch my player ratings, trust me, I was brutal. That was a shocking performance by the Arsenal players. West Ham fully deserved to win it, and you know what I mean, Liverpool away in the next round.
They've got a European trophy to go for this season. They've got a league to go into, and they're putting out a strong side. And they're also putting out
I bet you any money, Lee, right, that when they go to Liverpool, their team won't be as strong as it was last night. Any money, I'll put your money down now. David Moyes is going to look on that and think, boy, Anfield away, really, really tough. Got a game at the weekend. You know, I'm going to make more changes than normal. If that game would have been at home, they'd probably have gone stronger. And that's the pattern that follows a lot of these games. And that's what I'm saying. You know, you don't see no resting players in the Champions League, do you?
No, listen, it's
you know what I mean?
It's a different thing, like. But what I don't like about Arsenal at the moment in cup competitions, and I'll be really honest, like, this is my thing of it. When we say about this, 30 years since we won the League Cup, 20 years since we won the league, we've won a couple of 4 FA Cups in between that. You know, we're not in and the continuing of just dismissing trophies. You know, if we was winning them, if we won the league last season, we won it this season, we won it there. I can handle it. Like back in the day when we was winning titles, I could accept us not doing well in the League Cup because we was winning the FA Cup or we was winning the Premier League. We're not winning nothing like that no more. We ain't winning things at this moment in time. We won the FA Cup in 3 or 4 years ago, and everybody goes, "Wow, super, Mikel Arteta." Because he's won the FA Cup. He has dished it every time since. We've dished the League Cup every time since. So what happens if we don't win the league this season? What happens then?
It was great to win the FA Cup for Mikel Arteta. It was a great achievement, and that's, you know, I mean, I still hold the FA Cup, even though that's starting to diminish a lot as well. But I still hold that as a major thing to win, right? But at the end of the day, his biggest achievements since he's been at Arsenal has been getting them back into the top 4 and challenging for the league. Even though you don't get a title with that, the reality of it is, even though we don't like to say it because it's not a trophy, the reality of it is, right, is that that's his biggest achievement. The fact that last year we actually challenged for the league, because even when we won that FA Cup, I remember after that there was some fans who won the FA Cup, but bro, look at the league.
I'm with you on that.
Champions League, that's where you want to be, where those things are.
I'm with you on that.
And that's what I'm saying. To me, Carabao Cup now is of so low importance. I personally think next 10 years' time, there won't even be a Carabao Cup.
Maybe. I think
that'd be gone. I think now there's so much emphasis and importance placed on European football and the Premier League, because it's so important, whether it be top 4, now it's going to be top 5, right? That's where the level of importance has gone. And the Carabao Cup, I think, will be gone. And I think the FA Cup is under threat, but I think the FA Cup will always stay because of the tradition of it, because of the fact that, you know, it's every team. The whole motto of the competition is basically whatever team you are in this country, you got a chance of winning the FA Cup because you have all the early rounds and that. But the League Cup, I think that's going to disappear. It's going to end up like they're playing that EFL one at the moment, where it's under 21s. Yeah, Man City versus first team Peterborough, and they get beat. You know what I mean?
I'm with you on this side. You know what I mean? Like a couple of things, like Mikel, like, you know, when he won the FA Cup, we're gone away to Portsmouth and Bournemouth and teams like that. Like last season, we was going away at Spurs. You know, in Chelsea and winning games. And listen, I had a far better season last season, following the club round, winning games in the league and all that, like, you know. And I think Mikel's done fantastically well to get us where we are in that side of it all. What I liked about Mikel yesterday is that he was fuming yesterday. He wasn't happy about that.
He was.
He's held himself accountable for it. I like that, and I think that's a good thing from him, like, you know, because I think that he, like me, he probably doesn't, you know, he'll want to win it, but if he doesn't win it, ain't the end of the world. But what he wants is to see his players not being out fought, not being out muscled, not being outplayed in a game of football. And I don't care whether you're playing a Carabao Cup game, you're playing at the Premier League, or no manager, no fan should accept that. It should accept that. And that's what I think he's copped the ump about, and good on him, like, you know. Now, what he's got to do now is he's got to go to Newcastle and get something. He's put a little bit of pressure on us. Like,
it won't matter. With all what we're talking about the Carabao Cup, it won't matter as long as far as I'm concerned, this is how my thinking, this is my own personal. Everybody else is entitled to their opinion, but it won't matter the Carabao Cup defeat if we go to Newcastle and win. But now 100%. The pressure is on. Yeah. We need to go there now and get a result. I want to see a performance at Newcastle, like what we did last year. When we went there last year, we put in a performance. But some people could say, you know, when I was talking about it yesterday, there was Turkish was like, oh, the pressure was off. I don't think the pressure was completely off in that game, if I'm being honest. Like, because remember, we've been smashed there the year before. Everybody was saying we were going to get smashed there again. And actually, when we won that game, it gave us a bit of a glimmer of hope. No, not big hope, but in it. Remember, we gave us a little glimmer. So I don't think the pressure, when Turkish was saying that to me yesterday, I don't agree with that, because people thought we were going to get smashed. But we need to go there and really put a performance in. You know, if we can go there and we can get a win, I mean, that would be huge for us as regards the Premier League, if we go away to St James's Park and get a win. And as difficult a place as it is to go to, I think Arsenal need to sort of look at that Dortmund models, what they did the other day.
Exactly that.
Where Dortmund went to Newcastle, defended well. All right, they rode their luck with a couple of the chances, but they defended well. And then when they got their chances, they took them, and they got a very good win over Newcastle. It's not this impregnable place where a lot of people talk about the atmosphere, and they say, oh, of course the atmosphere is going to be great. But it's a winnable game. Liverpool won there with 10 men. It's a winnable place, but Arsenal, if you don't go there and match 100%. The intensity and everything that's going to be coming, like what we did last night, not matching the intensity, we get turned over. We got to go there and respond.
If Arsenal are not up for that game, 100%, they will get that beat. Not only get beat, they will get annihilated. Right? We was there last season. Like, Turkish can go on about what he wants and all that. He wasn't there. Right? The atmosphere at that ground last season was intense. It wasn't. It was a different atmosphere. I've been going to Newcastle, you know, like the Mike Ashley years and everything like that. It's been buzzing. It's a great place to go because the fans and everything like that. I've never experienced what it was like last season. The feel-good factor on top of what they have as a fan base. It's magnificent. It's a pleasure to sit there and watch opposition fans at times and how they react to their football club. That's the only thing. You know what I mean? Like, but they are right up for it. In and around the town afterwards and everything like that, it's incredible. you've got to stifle that and perform. Arsenal are capable of doing that. We know that they are, but they've got to be on their game. And if they are on their game, like Dortmund were, then you can get something from that. I think Arsenal can go up there and beat them. I really do, like, you know what I mean? But what worries me is at this moment in time is this little bit of inconsistency. What I can't stand as a fan, and at this moment in time, is that I'm there at 50 minutes wanting to go home. 50 minutes of that game, there was people pouring out of that stadium yesterday. I had enough after 50 minutes. People are criticising them online for doing it and whatever. Listen, I don't blame it. Any fan, if a fan wants to leave after watching that, that's their prerogative. I ain't got a problem with that. You know what I mean? But I don't want to see us being outplayed, out-muscled, out-fought on any game of football, Robbie. Any game. And I see that yesterday, like, you know what I mean? I've had enough of now Kai Havertz being pushed around and everything like that. When is he going to have a performance when I'm going to say, right, yes, you're the man? This is Mikel Arteta's man, by the way, and he's letting him down every single time. Chance after chance after chance he's been given. Right. Eddie yesterday, you know what I mean, fantastic against Sheffield United. There's the doubters and everybody, it's only Sheffield United. Now, go and do it then. Go and do it against West Ham. Go and do it. He was he strolled around there like yesterday. Strolled around there thinking, I'm Billy Bigger because I got hat-trick against Sheffield United. How dare you do that on a football field playing in an Arsenal shirt? Get your act together and make sure you do it against Newcastle. And I can say the same for about 5 or 6 of those players. Shinchenko, get off your backside and start producing performances that matter at Arsenal. Like, you know what I mean? I've had enough of it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, doesn't, you know, like, deserves to be playing that. Ben White, I love Ben White. You know how much I love Ben White. I'm seeing him have a few little dodgy games here and there now. Like, get back on your game. Don't matter where you are, but you go in there and playing with that Arsenal shirt on your back. Don't ever let in a performance like that again. Like,
hold on, but slow down slightly, yeah? Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough there. We ain't seen lots of that this season. I mean, we are.
I've seen it more this season. I didn't see it at all last season, Robbie.
We're unbeaten in the Premier League at the moment.
Name a game, name a game, right, when you feel that you've been let down with Arsenal last season. I can't think of one. When I really thought, do you know what I mean? Manchester City, we went up there, we was outclassed. But a game where I thought, do you know what, we weren't really at it.
Yeah, I'm just putting it down to League Cup, right? Because... And a bad attitude. I'm not making us sound.
No, it was a bad attitude last night.
I'm not making any excuses.
From players that, like, you know, Eddie, for instance, that was a bad attitude from him last night.
He was very, very poor. I mean, there was no service to him.
No.
But he was very, very poor.
Trossard, another one.
Trossard was poor. But I think, on the whole this season, those players have been good. And we haven't lost in the league. And that's what they need to do now. Just put aside last night. That's my personal opinion. Put aside. Let that be a reminder that when you don't put it in, that's what can happen. But put aside last night now and get the job done at Newcastle. There's going to be a lot of players who played last night and not going to start at the weekend. And when they're sat on that bench, they've only got their own self to play.
And also the ones that are playing, it works 2 ways, Robbie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seriously now saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, Eddie starts on the Newcastle game. He deserves to start because of his hat-trick against Sheffield United, right? So I'm gonna forget about that. But if you don't perform against Newcastle, then the West Ham game comes back on you as well.
Yeah.
Right. And because you've got other players that can come in and do what you've done in the last couple of games. So there's pressure on him. Havertz, you know what I mean? Like,
he don't start. He don't start. I'd go Jorginho. He weren't great either, but he was one of the better ones. He weren't terrible. For me, Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. Only positive to come out of the game is Odegaard getting a goal.
Yeah, he come on and done all right in the 7 minutes.
Right? Zinchenko doesn't start. Tomiyasu does for me. Tomiyasu's back in. Raya's back in. I'm sorry, Ramsdale. I know he's tough. Right. I know you've only had one game to prove you didn't. Raya's going to be back in. You can't argue against that because Raya's not been on a losing team in the Premier League.
No.
But Yeah, if we go to Newcastle and we win that game,
all is forgiven.
This will be a distant memory. Yeah, it will be.
It's all forgiven. The poor performances are there. You know what I mean? Like, but at the moment they're a little bit raw. They're a little bit raw with me yesterday. I'm sitting there after 15 minutes, still like, you know, sitting there. Listen, Robbie, there's no, you know, I'm buzzing to go to these games. Looking forward to Newcastle, even though it's a long journey. Looking forward to it and all that. Like, I don't like the fact that after 50 minutes of yesterday's game, I'm sitting here going, I wish I wouldn't be here. I wish I was at home because like, of that performance of players. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was poor. It was poor, man. And as I said, they got a chance. They got a couple of important games coming up. You know what I mean? Because there's Sevilla as well next week as well after that. But right now, the Newcastle game is a back on track game for those players. Go there, put in a performance. You know. Which they're capable of doing. They're capable. They've been to St James's Park and they've won, right? So go up there and put in a performance. The other thing I'm getting a bit worried about with Arsenal is these injuries mounting up. Smith Rowe out yesterday. I was looking forward to seeing him playing in this game. Out with some sort of knee issue. Looks like he could be out till December, is what some people are saying. Jesus might not be back until December. Partey's out till December. I mean, injuries starting to mount up.
Premier League game. I think someone said to me that's his first Premier League start in 17 months.
Yeah, it's probably accurate.
I don't know if that's true or not, but 17 months.
I think that's probably accurate. Start, yeah.
Plays one Premier League game and now he's out for months, weeks again. Like, you know what I mean? The same with Partey. The same with Jesus. You know, this got, you know, they brought all these new people in. The army man I see there, like, you know what I mean, like running around doing all this stuff and everything. No difference. They're still getting injuries and like same things. And are they being rushed back too quickly? And then
yeah, but Smith Rowe, and then now you see why sometimes when he's been used very sparingly, and been coming off the bench and things like that, probably because they have always been a bit worried about his injuries. And
you can't be worried about that, though. I'm sorry.
There's certain players you've got to manage, and he's one of them. He falls into that category. Jesus, Partey are in that category as well.
Tierney's another one.
Tierney was always like, you know, well, Tierney's gone to Real Sociedad.
He's injured again.
He's out injured at the moment, right? So it is a real worry because, you know what I mean, when you're going into these big games, you want your very best players.
And that's the thing that also on yesterday. Like, if you think about it, Thomas Partey would have probably played in that game yesterday.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like, and he's quality.
Yeah,
but we haven't had him all season really, virtually. No. Like, you know, and it's another. I don't think we're seeing back until Christmas time, probably time he gets himself fit. I think
at the moment we're missing Partey, Timber. Those are two players that would probably definitely have been starting games. Smith Rowe, Jesus. The problem is with some of these injuries, they're your big players. They're not fringe guys. They're big. I mean, Jesus fit starts. Partey fit starts. Timber fit starts.
Yeah,
these are three starting 11 players that are out. You know?
And Smith Rowe's only really out of the team because of the injuries.
Smith Rowe was a starter until all the injuries started piling up.
Yeah,
so these are big misses, man. I mean, I don't know. Listen, no player wants to be injured. It's really unlucky. It's really unfortunate. But we're feeling it at the moment. But to be fair, we're weathering it quite well because we're still unbeaten in the Premier League. But what could we be doing if we had a real season with minimum injuries?
I think we're stuttering at the moment. Like, you know, I mean, that's my only thing. Like, you know, we haven't scored in the first 15 minutes of any game this season.
Which last year we started off games really quick, remember?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we used to blow teams away. Like, I'm not enjoying watching Arsenal as much as I did last season from a entertainment side of it. Like, do you know what I mean? I see.
Yeah, we're more fluid last year.
Yeah, I see what we're doing. We're controlling games a little bit more and we're whatever. And it's still good that we're winning and I'm enjoying where we are in the league, don't get me wrong. But last season was just an absolute pleasure watching Arsenal. You know what I mean? You knew what you was going to get. You knew you was going to come out 15, 20 minutes, might blow a team away, might not, might have to grind it out, whatever. This time around, I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know what I'm going to get at Newcastle, like, you know what I mean? I really don't know. I look at it and you know, am I going to get a performance out of Eddie this week? Like, am I going to get a performance out of Saka? You know what I mean? Like, all the players last season that were special for us, right? I'll name them: Shinchenko, Odegaard, Saka, Jesus. None of them have hit the heights of last season. None of them.
Yep.
You know, they was the main player. Why is that? Why is it? Injuries or the way we're playing?
Maybe they're going to hit the heights later on. Maybe,
well, like at the end of the season, like, you know what I mean?
Maybe they're doing it later on in the season, a bit like City do, where...
Yeah, like, well, let's hope so.
I hope so.
Let's hope so. You know
I hope
what I mean?
so.
Like,
and in the meantime, we just need to keep up there and keep winning.
But, you know, I look at Saka at the moment, like, you know, what was he coming on for yesterday, by the way? Come on.
I don't understand bringing on any of them players. Odegaard did come on.
Do you imagine one of them got injured yesterday? What you'll be talking about today? You know what I mean? There's so many things wrong about yesterday, from the manager to the players to the fans leaving at 50 minutes or whatever. Like, it was just a bad night.
All round, I won't care about that if we beat Newcastle. That's what it boils down to. But will we beat Newcastle? What's your prediction?
Do you know what? You might think I'm going to be silly here, right? We are going to get stuffed, and I mean stuffed. I've got a feeling that we could either get stuffed here 4 or 5. I really think they could really tear us one, or we win it 2-1. I don't see any in between.
I think Arsenal can win it. I think Arsenal have been a team that's really bounced back from losses and adversity very, very well. And it's going to be a different game to yesterday.
Yeah, of course.
Completely different. And it's going to be a completely different team. Martinelli will be back. Saka will be back. I just think it's going to be a different game. And yeah, I think if the team selection's right, which is, for me, Tomiyasu's got to come in on that left-hand side now. It's not a game for Zinchenko up there in that heated atmosphere, right? I think we can win the game, but the goalkeeper has got a part to play. He's got to play well. That playing out from the back stuff, they'll be pressing us. He's going to have to be on his game with that, because if not, but you know what I mean, I think some of the players that are coming back in, they're so important, like Saliba, for instance.
So, do you know what I was just going to say?
These are massive. He's almost like a different team.
He was massively missed yesterday. Yeah, I'll tell you how he was massively
Even Gabriel didn't look the same without him.
No, because you play out the back with him. You know, you give him the ball, he's got the confidence to do whatever he wants to do with it, like, you know what I mean?
He can play higher up the pitch.
He can play higher up the pitch, he defends really, really well. Not necessarily you're going to win the game with him there, but it's just, you can see the cohesion of the team is so much better with him here. So for him not playing yesterday was a big loss. And I don't think that helps out the goalkeeper if he's not there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but Raya comes in now, Raya's got to you know, realistically, Raya hasn't had a lot to I watched that game yesterday. Ramsdale had a lot to do yesterday. When Raya's in there, for whatever reason, is it because we've got a stronger defence when he's in there because it's the first choice, doesn't have a lot to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like on Saturday I don't think he hardly had anything to do. So I think Saliba is you know, but listen, I agree that Saliba shouldn't have played yesterday. I think that was the right thing.
Yeah, leave those guys out of that game.
Yeah.
No, I think we can get a win up there. I think it's going to be a really difficult game. But, you know, teams have gone up to St James's Park and got victories this season. Arsenal just got to go out there and play properly, play right. They're very, very, very good side. Newcastle manage well, coach well.
Great result there for them yesterday.
They had a great result when you consider the team that they put out. I mean, we're talking about our team. Their fringe players really stepped up. And
why is it our fringe players and why is it other teams? I'm watching like Newcastle yesterday, and they're stepping up. Why have Arsenal fringe players? And it's not.
Well, I don't think you can say that completely, because a lot of those fringe players played on Saturday. I know it's only Sheffield United, but they played on Saturday and they did step up. You know what I mean? Fabio Vieira scored.
Sure.
You know, there was goals from Eddie. Let's not forget that. You know what I mean? So I think we just got to be careful not to get a bit too carried away about. Even though I was very disappointed with the performance, we have seen some of those players. Trossard, we've seen him step up loads of times in games when he's come off the bench and stuff like that.
Yeah, games. It's a fair point.
You know, fair point. But now that's a reminder yesterday. And I think it was telling when I heard Arteta saying, listen, I warned them.
Yeah, I like what you said
because
there.
I warned them that this could happen if you're not right on the money, right? So this is a reminder, and that's why I feel the attitude going up to Newcastle is going to be a lot more focused than people think because of what happens.
Better be, I'll tell you like.
It better be, because we're going to be up there and we don't want to be going all the way up there. And I've seen the forecast, more rain again.
I couldn't believe it.
You better bring your brolly, right? Wally with a brolly.
Brolly today, like Wally with a brolly, like, you know
Wally with a brolly, right? So we better be focused on it. But if we are focused on it, we can go up there and get a win. And we will be up there. Make sure you look out for all of the content. We're going to be doing all our previews up there and everything. So looking forward to that. You're coming up?
Yes. We're going up there day earlier, aren't we? Or something
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
I always look forward to every Arsenal game. I look forward to and the tough ones. I look forward to.
Yeah.
You know.
I know it's stressful.
Yeah, it's stressful.
That is going to be a stressful game.
Of course, it's going to be. But that's what you. I'm sorry, Robbie. I'm not being horrible. I'd rather have all the stress that goes with that game. I know you might think I'm silly here, than a 5-0 breeze against Sheffield United. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
this is what you. These games on Saturday, this is what you want. You don't want it being where if you win, you lose. This is a meaningful game with two top teams, two teams from the top 4 last season going at it, and both wanting the same sort of things. I love all these games. This is what it's about.
Okay, well, listen, thanks everybody for listening to the show today and watching the show. Remember, the podcast available on all your usual formats. The Carabao Cup, we don't really care about it, but that's only if Arsenal go and get a win at Newcastle. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.